right, everybody. Well, welcome back to another episode of the Blazer Victory Podcast. John Duncan here. And of course, I'm joined as always with my co host, Darian Smith and Jimmy Marion. And guys, UAB does not get it done in Athens as they lose 49-21 to the number one team in the country. But there, we all agree that even though the score was very lopsided, there are still a lot of positives to take out of this game, but we'll get to that in a minute. But this, as always, this game recap and all game recaps this season are brought to you by Cahaba Brewing Company. And we are going to, spotlight the Cahaba Blonde tonight, which is a really good, just everyday beer, easy drinking. It's just 5.2%, super smooth. I know folks that are actually going to the beach in the next couple of weeks. So get you a couple packs of Cahaba Blonde to take out to the beach. Really smooth and great beach beer to drink. But of course,
But
oh,
I was
go
about to say,
ahead.
I know you was probably about to bring it up, but I just thought that was the perfect segue right there because, we finna have this instant reaction of the Georgia game, but next Saturday, versus Tulane, we got a big game versus Tulane, man. And
First
we're
game
gonna
of the
be
AAC, yeah.
first game of the AAC, and we starting off against the big dogs. But catch us down at Cahaba Brewery. Y'all come out and enjoy with the Blazer Victory podcast. We would love to see y'all there and be with us, man. I got a procedure that Friday, so I'm gonna be kind of late coming there. But it's a difference between performing when you flat out injured versus when you're hurt. I'm gonna be hurt, and I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna show my Blazer pride like
And
we did today, baby.
he's still gonna be there. Yeah, all three of us will be there. Guys, next Saturday, 11 o'clock, is UAB battles Tulane. Come on down to Cahaba Brewing Company. They're going to have pitcher specials. They're going to have cocktail specials. Even if you don't drink, come on down and just hang out with us and a bunch of UAB fans. And especially after what we saw tonight, guys, at UAB in Athens, like there's a lot of good things to talk about, and hopefully UAB can translate that into their first game in the AAC next week as they start conference play against Tulane. But yes, thank you for the plug. Everybody head down to Cahaba Brewing Company this Saturday. Get there a little early, maybe about 10:50, just to make sure you get a seat. But they've got like 12 screens. This is going to be super nice, and I know a lot of UAB fans have been hammering for somewhere local to watch the game, and there is no other place to do that other than Cahaba Brewing Company. So thank you, Cahaba, again for sponsoring the podcast, but also letting us co-host this event at your lovely establishment. So, guys, definitely get there next Saturday at 11 o'clock. Also, on our Facebook, and I know a lot of you don't do Facebook, but there is a Facebook event. It kind of helps Cahaba let them know who all's coming. So if you plan to be there, make sure you check that I'm going, or at least say that you're interested so they can make arrangements. But definitely next Saturday, 11 o'clock, Blazer Victory and Cahaba Brewing Company co-hosting a watch party for the UAB Tulane game. So this is going to be awesome.
Yo, I
And
got
y'all
a
come. Oh,
I
go
got a
ahead, Jimmy.
baby blazer due in 3 weeks. I'm gonna be there as long as that
No,
baby ain't delivered that morning.
no excuses.
I was about to
No
say no excuses.
excuses.
That would be the one excuse.
But yeah, I feel like we're here at Blazer Pod. It almost feel like the people that listen to us, the Blazers that listen to us, it feel like we're family. We're an intimate group here, and we love you guys, and we know the love that y'all show us. So we just want to be able to experience this together, like all of us together for the first time. So please go to Facebook and mark that you're going for that event, and let us be together, and we're gonna hopefully celebrate a big victory for the Blazers Saturday.
Yes, sir. Well, guys, let's go ahead and transition into what happened tonight in Athens against the number one team. And I know if you're listening and you didn't watch the game and you're just looking at the stats, it might not look too pretty. Again, 49-21 the result. But Darian, I'm going to let you start because we were all in agreement in our text thread that there are a lot of positives to take away from this game. And I'll throw it to you, Darian.
Man, you don't want to throw it to me first. I'm over here drinking a little bit, and I got so many things that I want to hit because I'm so effing proud. I'm so proud
The
of
fight was there, bro. The
the
fight was there.
fight, the mental fortitude. Like a lot of the plays that we got beat on, it wasn't because of a bust. We had a bust here and there, especially on those long passes that they missed. But I think ironically they ended up scoring TDs on those drives anyway. So whatever. But we were we were like on a string today. We were fighting, we were competing, we had pride. Pride is the word, and that's what I challenge the players to have. We had a horrible, disastrous showing last week, but for them to come out against the number one team in the nation on the road, full of chalk, full of 5 stars, and to compete the way we did with the young guys that we have, I can't I can't be more proud. But I'm gonna throw it to Jimmy because I can go on a rant. Now I got a whole bunch of positives that I want to point out, but I'm gonna let Jimmy take it from here.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that stands out is for anyone that is looking at the score and seeing it as lopsided, I don't know where the line ended up, but it was hovering around 40, 41, 42 for different parts of the week. And yeah, we lost by whatever it was, 4 touchdowns, but there's a lot of things that we'll break down further in the film review. Plug our Patreon here real quick later on this week. But there's a lot of things, in my opinion, that we can take away. You just look at us offensively, and last week we're not going to look too much back at the Louisiana game, but we just couldn't get things going. And for us to put up 336 total yards offensively, 21 total points against, again, the number one ranked team on the road, which is more than any other team that's put up on Georgia this season. You guys got to consider the fact that Georgia's played 3 teams this year, and the combined points offensively that have been put up by those 3 teams against Georgia is 24 total points. We scored 21 this evening in that game. So kudos to them. Some other things that really stand out for me is that we protected the football. 1 turnover for UAB, and we know that's been somewhat of a bugaboo for this UAB team this season, and we forced 3. I want to give a early shout out to someone that I was really pleased with in this game, someone that's really worked hard on special teams and really worked his way into the rotation, got some carries there at the end of the game. Lee Beebe, 2 fumble recoveries in this game. Some big moments for him. And really, when you look at the penalties, 4 penalties, 29 yards in that type of environment with 90,000 plus fans. We had a critical 15-yarder pass interference on that first drive that was on a 3rd and 13 that was, troublesome. But for the most part, the team kept their composure. They kept the fight throughout the game. And last thing I'll say real quick before we toss it back over is that Coach Dilfer talks about it revealing. Players reveal themselves. Guys, we had a player reveal himself tonight. Amari Thomas, what a damn game. I mean, that was
Woo, yes.
exceptional to see. The Birmingham native, again, I think back to him choosing UAB over some Power 5 opportunities. And aren't we lucky to have him as a Blazers? Shout out to Amari Thomas. I am beyond excited to see what this guy is able to do as a Blazer, not just this year, but for the remainder of his career.
Hey, Darren, you better jump in. We've been telling them, haven't we? We've been telling them.
Hey, we told them before a game was ever played about Amari Thomas. We
Yes.
saw him in practice and we saw what he was doing. And then we talked to the staff and we talked to other players on the sideline, and they was all telling us like, hey, he's really that deal. So whatever we got to do to keep this man, we need to keep him, and we need to just put a whole bunch of Blazer pride into him because we probably can't have the NIL money that Bama probably will try to toss at him.
Yeah.
But maybe hopefully he'll stick around because, man, what a game, and just a true freshman in that environment, going out there and revealing himself in that way. And he was beating coverages 1-on-1. I talked a lot about a lot of the players just having personal pride. I want to start with the offensive line, man. Good job, Will Parker. He did really well at left tackle. Luke Jones, a healthy Luke Jones, he looked totally different at guard right there. You know, we started Moran at right guard. It was one play. that Moran got totally trucked and bowled over. But I tried to make a point on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it, that wasn't a mental mistake. That wasn't I just messed up here. He made the guy physically dominate him. But what that did was it just caused the incompletion versus a sack. You see the difference? Make them prove that they are better than you. And I commend him for staying in there so long. And I think at right tackle, I think we had a revelation. I think when Quez he got subbed in at right tackle, and he looked so much better at tackle than at guard. And I think we found our line. Those guys held up against freaking Georgia. Against Georgia, a lot of times we went empty. And if you know anything about football, empty is you don't have a running back to help you. And they held up. The first I tweeted, hey, don't go empty because we got a sack in the beginning. But we kept doing it, and it made me eat my words because we got some good plays out of that.
Hey, Darian, before you jump away from the offensive line, I just want to share like a stat to share regarding the offensive line. So when you look at that Georgia defense thus far this season, in the first game, Tennessee Martin, they did have 1 sack and 4 tackles for loss. They had 6 tackles for loss against Ball State. They had 3 sacks and 7 tackles for loss against South Carolina this last week. Tonight, the UAB offensive line hung in there and only allowed 1 sack. They did allow 5 tackles for loss, but overall, when you think about where we came from and the fact that Zeno, was he tackled or was he sacked? What was it, 7 times this past week? And only give up 1 sack in this environment. I just wanted to provide some context there in addition to what your observations, because the stats certainly supported that.
The stats supported, the eye test supported. I think we had revelations. Shout out to this coaching staff. You know why this game is important? Because it shows that our coaching staff doesn't quit. And they do analyze, and they made significant changes, especially on defense. As y'all can see that we went to more of a traditional 4-3 look. And John, we looked totally different on defense in that 4-3. It looked we weren't busting as much. Like I said, we had the 2 long passes that irked me. But other than that, especially on the inside against the run, Georgia is easily the best offensive line we faced. Easily. And we held up pretty stoutly against their run. And we tackled better in space. Against guys like Brock Bowers, he's arguably the best player in college football. He killed us 2 years ago. Think about that game 2 years ago and how we kind of just laid down, played conservatively, and just wanted to get out of there. No, we came out there wanting to get better, wanting to prove a point, having pride. We competed. We had guys in one-on-one coverage. Who was that? It was like on the early 3rd down. I think that was maybe D-Mac with a great pass breakup, to force a punt. We forced them to punt a couple of times, Ricky Lee at the end of the game, toward the end of the game with a great interception. What about our true freshman? Maquan Merriweather was winning battles, proving he's winning battles against Georgia. This is a true freshman. I think he only had a couple of small offers coming out of high school. And to be in the trenches on the inside, playing significant minutes and proving that you want to be out there and that you deserve to be out there, that means the world to me. And it should mean the world to all of Blazer Nation to see him competing and fighting. All those young guys we had out there, Rousseau. We talked about Lee and Thomas and Fred Ferrier, sophomore. Like all of these guys, Will Parker, sophomore. Like we return this whole team next year, basically. And a lot of guys that was making the plays were the young guys, I'm so excited about the trajectory of this team. And if we build off of this, one person before I kind of transition, I want to shout out Sione to Alpha, who I always butcher that. John, help me here.
Talfa O.
I'm about to say 2 Alpha O. he was very criticized for his defense and his defensive scheme and how we've looked, rightfully so. Rightfully so. They made the necessary changes. Trent talked about making the changes and keep working, and they did that. They showed that. And that's the scheme that we ran today, much better. I want to see how we look in conference play. I want to see how we build off of this. I want to see how encouraged the players are I think they prove something to themselves. And I think it kind of provide some reassurance to them about the coaching staff. It's a new coaching staff coming from high school and all of this, right? Well, I think when you perform and you see it work like that against Georgia, the number one team in the nation, I think as a player, it does something to you to have belief in it. Like, hey, maybe they do know what they're talking about. Maybe I do need to buy in, right? So now that you've seen the proof that it can work if you listen and you buy in and you play hard, now you're saying, hey, let's build. We face the best team in the nation. It's not even the best team that you have played this. Of course, this is the best team they'll play this year. But this is the number one team in the nation coming off a national championship. Y'all played
two national championships.
Y'all played awesome against this team. It was competitive. How about the disastrous, we was down 14-7. They score. We get the ball back, and it's a bad interception. You can't really be mad at that. That's just football. And then they score again because they have a short field. And even then, though, we forced them to score. It ain't like we laid down. They made good plays. Is that the play where they called I'm not sure if they called the tight end throwback on that play, but it was a really good play. And they scored. Well, at that time, it's kind of like, well, let's just get into halftime. No, we pushed the ball downfield and scored. It was like under 2 minutes left, and I'm out. That right there, that drive right there, I think would prove to be so important because we didn't just lay down against Georgia. We said, nah, we finna come out here and fight. We're going to score and get the ball back in the second half. And we probably didn't score in the second half when we got the ball back, but it's just the fact that we had the freaking balls and we had the pride to go out there and say, well, we don't care. We don't care who you are. We're the Blazers and we believe in ourselves, right? So I'm just proud of the fight and the resolve, and we've shown that we can really bounce back from having one of the ugliest weeks in football, in UAB football history. We bounced back really well.
Right, and real quick, Darian, on that drive, but to end the half, I really think that Trent got ticked when Kirby called that timeout. He was like, oh, okay, you're going to call a timeout? Oh, okay. We're going, and then that just motivated them to just do even better and hurry up. Because I really do think, I know the announcer said it, that I think Trent was kind of content to just go to the half. But after that timeout, marched right down the field to get that TD. But yeah,
and John, in his press conference, he talked about having the edge. He talked to you about it.
Yes.
He said he felt like he lost the edge. He needed to find that edge. I felt like Trent found that edge this game. We went for it on 4th and 1.
From the 30-yard line too, right? That play.
from our 30-yard line.
Yes.
Y'all remember we punted against UTSA.
Oh, you ain't got to bring that up, dude.
But no. I'm just saying, like, the balls and the belief you shown in your players to run the ball against Georgia in 4th and 1, and we got it. We got it. Scholes reached out, and it was clear that he got it. And to me, as a player, when a coach showed that kind of confidence in you, he shows that belief in you, and you reward that staff. Those are critical plays that you can build off of. We saw some sheer tackling. We haven't seen sheer tackling at all this year. I think we made some changes at linebacker. I saw Michael Moore playing on the inside some. I saw Miller playing back at safety more. I saw some changes in personnel, but I saw some changes in scheme that I think really, really fits this team really well. And I think they responded to those changes, and it's something that we definitely can build off of. And I would like to see us build off of that against Tulane. I would say this: Georgia was kind of vanilla against us, but then I think when they saw that we weren't laying down, they was like, all right, guys, we need to be more than just. They couldn't just run the ball down our throat. They couldn't do all that. They couldn't do that stuff that many, including me, and I can say us. I think we all thought that, hey, they just finna run the ball, they finna do this and do that. They didn't. We actually wrapped up. We made them work. We got them to third down a lot of times, right? And a lot of times, unfortunately, we didn't get off the field, but we competed. We made them work for it. I can't be more proud.
Let's talk about those defensive changes real quick, guys. Darian alluded to it earlier, but they did go into a more traditional 4-3, and tackling was a lot better. Looking, and I can't wait to jump into the after review on the Patreon in a couple of days to review the film. But looking tonight, the guys just look more comfortable in this fit. And I just want to emphasize too for our listeners, like, this is literally just 1 week of putting this change in, and you kind of see. So when Darian is saying like he can't wait to see it next week when we start AAC play, he's right. Like, the more they do it, and they're going to get even more comfortable. Because face it, guys, that tackling we saw last week against Louisiana was god awful, like god awful. But tonight, that's pretty good. No, yes, Brock Bowers bowled over some guys, but that's Brock Bowers. UAB is not going to face a Brock Bowers again. Probably never, hopefully. But I mean, but you got to just, see the progress. I know when we recorded last week, I mean, that was just a bad game, a terrible game. That you really can't take any positives out of the game other than the freshmen coming in there fighting towards the end. Other than that, scrap the freaking Louisiana film. But I think that we can take a lot of positives out of playing the number one team in the country.
Hey, John, Jimmy, I think building on this, we can beat Tulane. We have a shot to beat them. If we build off of this, I'm not going in there for more victory against them. I saw them struggle against Southern Miss. We're going in to win the game. And I expect the way we fought today, I expect our guys, they showed it. They literally just showed it to us. I expect them to go in expecting to win versus Tulane.
Oh yeah. I mean, no doubt. I mean, and especially being in like an early Saturday morning game too, like maybe you can catch kind of Tulane kind of overlooking UAB. But I will say, we'll get into the Tulane preview in a few days, but I do know for a fact their defensive line is pretty nasty too. Not near as nasty as Georgia's, but they probably got one of the best defensive lines in the group of five. And I hate using that term, by the way. But definitely, hey, maybe Tulane will go out on Bourbon Street Friday night and wake up.
11 a.m. kick is early in New Orleans.
Nah. Forget all of that. Forget all of that. They're gonna be focused. They're gonna be ready to play the Blazers, and they're gonna come and they're gonna give their 100%, and we're gonna give our 100%, and we gonna win. I want them at their best. As a competitor, you want them at their best. Like, forget all of that. Maybe we catch them. No, we catch them at their best, and we're gonna be at our best, and let's see who wins. I got belief that we can do something with what we shown today, the fight that we shown today, the changes that we shown today. Let's believe in our team that we can just be better than them. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, 100%. And I did look real quick. It looks like Michael Pratt did play for Tulane tonight, so he is back. But Jimmy, I want to give you a chance to respond on the defensive performance tonight. What did you see from the defense?
Yeah, we talked about on the preview, right? We wanted to be in positions to make plays, and I thought there was certainly a step in the right direction. I agree. It's good to see some of the schematic changes here just within the last week and seeing some of that pay off. And I mean, some people might be listening to this and saying, well, hey, Georgia put up, what was it, close to 600 total yards. But again, you have to keep everything into perspective. We did the same thing, 500 plus yards for Louisiana this past week, and they're not Georgia. So everything deserves to be placed into context. And so when you look at this holistically, where we were a week ago, we weren't talking about, hey, let's go into Tulane, into Bourbon Street and steal a victory from Tulane. We were talking about where do we see a victory on this UAB football schedule, and that's just how quickly things can change. And that's kudos to the team and to the coaching staff. I thought Ike Rao had a good game. I thought he had some physicality. He finished in tackles, which was good. He was credited with 8 tackles, which I would envision is a career high for him. There was a couple of plays, y'all mentioned it earlier, about some other tackles. We had some guys that we certainly flipped that tried to hurdle us. We're not going to let them disrespect us like that. BJ Mays, I thought, played a pretty good game upon first view, and he almost had the pick six, which would have been a monumental play for him. And, I look at some guys like a Nakia Eason, who I was happy to see get involved early on. Chris Bracey, who came in late there in the fourth quarter and made some plays, 2 tackles. And Darian mentioned it earlier about Myquan Merriweather, a guy who was lightly recruited and who came to UAB from the Columbus, Georgia area, I believe, if memory serves me right, and loved hearing the ESPN announcer give him a shout out. And that was before Georgia started subbing in their guys, where Myquan Merriweather, and we didn't mention this name earlier, Amon Smalls, who has not played this entire season, got into the game, and they were in the game on that defensive front on multiple possessions together. 2 true freshmen right there in the interior defense for UAB. It speaks to the high ceiling and the good future there on that defensive line going forward. So overall, I was pleased to see. The only thing, special teams wise, I think we still have quite a lot of work to do in the field position battle. Some of that was, offset this evening. Again, we mentioned BB earlier with the fumble recoveries, but by the forced fumbles on special teams to flip things a little bit. So overall, I was pleased with the defense, though.
Right, and it was great too to see Emmanuel Waller in there too. I want to give him a shout out. Played well.
We had
Darren,
just about everybody. It was Tyler Thomas, Waller came in, Jonathan Allen, Bracey, all the young guys, some of which had not really played at all this season, were able to get in there late. But special shout out to Smalls and Myquan Merriweather, who were in there getting quality reps against, again, the number 1 team in the country, even before there in the fourth quarter.
I think even Ryan Donahue got in too, didn't he?
Ryan Donahue, 3-point coming your way. Let's transition to basketball season real quick.
Darian, I'm gonna throw it to you. Do you have any more parting words, or do we need to wrap this?
Yeah, still dealing with a little fussy baby here. Like she's just excited. She's excited. That's okay. She's excited about the game. That's all. Ain't that right, baby? But I want to just tell people, and I harped on this last time. It's like, listen to all the young guys, especially like up front, that you guys just named out. And think about this team, man. And how can you not be excited for this team? Whatever happened this year, what I saw today was growth, right? So, and I've already went over all the guys that we have like red shirt, and that's not even playing. So they get good quality experience. The starters here get the starters that's in the game. We had a lot of sophomores and redshirt sophomores and juniors. We return this whole team, and I don't want to harp on next year so much, but it's the truth of the matter. It's like we're just really, really young this year to see us compete and fight like that, and knowing the depth we'll have next year and how well we've done in recruiting. Shout out to Jimmy. How well we've done in recruiting this year. Those guys we get off of red shirt. Shout out Daniel Harris that I'm so ready to see him play. I how can you not be excited and just pumped up for what this staff is building? I see the vision now. I really do. And if those young guys can come in and compete like they did today, and we can build and just continue building, shout out to the vets. Shout out to the guys, the Skulls and the Fairbanks, all those type of guys, for accepting the challenge, because I can tell you, as far as being on the team, you don't come out there and compete like that without the vets demanding that. So that's leadership. Shout out to the guys that's been here and that's willing to persevere and fight. I can tell you this much: we played better than Colorado did, right?
That's right.
So guys, like, just be really, and John. I get to this point. I'm going to tell you, I hate to put this on you because I know this is the free show, but I hate to put this on you. But just go ahead and bleep this out. But I just want to fire up the fan base. But be proud of this team. Be proud of this offensive line. Be proud of this staff. Like, get behind this movement that we have going on. I think it's going to be special.
Making me work, man. I'm working on a late night too.
Yeah. Hey, listen, and don't just edit it out. Just put the bloop sign like it's MTV in the old days.
All right, Jimmy, go ahead and send us out, man.
Hey, Blazer Nation, just blaze.